Hey everybody, thanks a lot for tuning in to the Argo Q&A. So this evening, it's Sunday night, probably around 10 o'clock right now. I just got out here. As you guys know, a lot of what happens is at night for the Argo because, well, it's just the way my work schedule is. But regardless, I thought, hey, I can do a little bit of Q&A and show you guys what's going on. And we can go over some stuff. And there's some comments. How's it going? We got Bogard and Decon. What's going on, Dan? Oh, and there's Tim. Hey, Tim. I work with Tim. Anyways, so I thought I would do a Q&A session here in the garage. As you can see, the Argo is off the trailer. The reason behind that is my sister's borrowing the trailer because they're in the process of moving and a lot of other stuff. But I thought we can do some Q&A and kind of chit chat. I've seen some questions and I've seen some things you guys had let me know. So let's just go over a couple things. First of all, what have you guys let me know? This looks like a dang pop commercial, so I'm gonna move this. All right, so I've seen this on there a couple times. What year is the Argo? This Argo is, first of all, it's an Argo Bigfoot. If you guys don't know, it's an Argo Bigfoot, and this is a 1998. And from what I can tell, it's because it's split into two prior to, I think, September and after September. I think this is an after September 1998 Argo. Apparently it makes a difference, although as far as part shopping for it, it hasn't made a difference. I've had both of the, I guess you'd call them diagrams or whatever, with the part list side by side, and I've yet to find a part that is different. So it's a 1998. I honestly cannot remember when we got it, but you guys just watched that tent video where it was up north, and that was in 2011. So we had it at some point in time. So this thing, if I had to guess, I'd say my dad has had it for 10 years, maybe over. And as you guys seen, it's running great. That video there, where my dad starts it, the Argo had not ran since, let's see, I think I took it on a spin on like the weekend prior. So it hadn't ran for many, many days, and it fires off just like that. I'll fire it up for you guys here. Like I said, I just got out here, and I haven't ran this thing. I drove it in here yesterday during the day. So a lot of people commented on the video saying that I had the winch cables wrong here, these little clamps. They're saying never saddle a dead horse. I didn't know that. So yeah, thanks. The comments actually really help because I actually learn stuff as I go along, because I can figure out most things, but something like that, I guess I would have never even thought of. And I'll admit it. So have you taken it in the water? That was a question from Chris. Yeah, I mean, not yet after the rebuild, but in the past, yes, I have taken it in the water. It's a blast, and actually, that's why my dad absolutely loves the basket in the back, because he likes to throw a big log in there, and that way when the Argo goes in the water, it's not top heavy, or front heavy, I should say, because if you're sitting in here with stuff in the back, it'll kind of float front heavy because of the engine and everything like that. How much, I've seen this one a couple times on here. I'm switching hands because my phone, I guess, gets heavy. How much have we spent so far on the rebuild? And I don't know, you guys want to take guesses? Take some guesses and then I'll answer it. But Argo parts are not cheap, and a lot of people commented, hey, you can shop here, you can shop there, and get the parts cheaper, etc. Well, I like a good deal, but there comes a time when you have to just spend the money, and that's where this thing's at, is we just want to get it back up to running condition. Really cost does not matter in this situation, because this is a staple of the Joe and Zach Survival channel, and you guys have loved this series, so it's like keeping it alive. Which reminds me, this series is not dead. We're plucking along, but we're getting to the fun, what I consider the fun stuff, which is the welding and grinding and stuff like that. But if you guys are wondering, currently the Argo, we're sitting right at about $960 worth of parts that have been put into the Argo. My first order was 500 and some odd dollars. The second order was 200 and some odd dollars. And then you have stuff that I got locally, which was oil, winch cable, switches, stuff like that. But if you're looking to get into a used Argo, these things don't go for cheap, honestly. So for something that's been paid for forever, putting this money into it, somebody would say, why not get a four-wheeler? Well, each thing has their own positive sides, right? Someone asked, how fast does it go? The Argo tops out at about 22 miles an hour, and it doesn't sound very fast, but this thing going 22 miles an hour there's a lot of momentum there. And like you guys seen in the video, you can turn it right on a dime. I mean, this thing turns pretty quick. So I'm really happy with it. But to keep you guys interested, let's fire this thing up so you can see just how quickly it honestly starts. So I'm gonna put it in neutral so I don't kill anybody. And I'll see if I can do it one-handed. I gotta work the choke and the key here. We'll see. Make sure I get it right. Oh, so when I turn it on, you guys hear that fan. What that fan is, on the other side here, there is this vent. And that vent is actually used, it sucks in clean air through tubing, and then it has the two disc brakes in the front, and it actually sucks air in to cool those disc brakes. Some people might have thought that it was like a boat where it pushes air out, that way there's no fumes, but the gas tank is under the seat. So when you hear that, it's actually a good sign, and it means that the brakes are going to be properly cooled down. Okay, let's see if we can start this thing. Like I said, one-handed's kind of a pain. Ugh. So there you go. That's it. Is there a pump to remove the water? It does have a bilge pump. You might be able to hear it. You hear it? Built-in bilge pump. And if you guys go back in the channel a long time, there's I think it's called the Argo mishap, where the plugs were, what are they called? Yeah, they're like the rubber plugs were misplaced or whatever. We didn't put them in. And my dad took it out in the water, and it filled up with water really fast. And that bilge pump saved them. So when you turn that bilge pump on, the water comes right out of the side here on the white spigot here. Someone asked about the knocking. I rebuilt the clutch because that's what it sounded like. You guys seen those clutch weights? They looked mashed up. I got it started again, and although it sounds better, the knocking noise is still there, so I have to dig into it again. Now, at this point, I don't think it's the clutch. What I can tell is it happens when the engine is idling down from like a rev, or like in the beginning when it's kind of warming up and stuttering a little more. And for my best guess, the motor's rocking when it happens. So I don't know. I'm going to look into the motor mounts possibly. There's a couple different things in there I want to I want to look at. But the noise is still there, although less. It could be just because it's running better. But yeah. Someone asked us to have the original tires. I believe that this is an upgraded tire, but it's like a package that they sold at the time. And you can see it. They're 5 on 4.5 bolt pattern, and what are they? 12 by 9s. Yeah, 25 by 12 by 9 is the size. Can you turn on the new headlights? I currently have the rack off, and in that video that my dad posted, I think people got a little confused, thinking that we're only going to put the one light on there. We actually are putting on two new lights on the rack, and then the 2 new headlights, and then the rear light as well, which you guys seen. This is the new rear LED lights. This is what I'm out here to work on tonight, and this actually came with a quick connect, which is going to be great because if we take the basket off, we're going to need to be able to get the lights off too. And then this is the other one for the front rack. So we got 2 for the front rack. The 2 regular headlights are getting switched out. And I can turn on the headlights for you, Walter. So this is what they look like. They're not very bright. Considering that this thing can travel 22 miles an hour, they're not very bright. They really don't light up. You can kind of see here my workspace. So I turn them off. So they don't do a whole lot to light up anything. So it has 6 tires. My dad did talk about maybe rebuilding the cab, which would be really, really fun. The thing looks awesome with the cab on it. You guys seen the pictures as thumbnails. It looks great. Maybe one day he'll get around to it. But yeah, so what else? Turn off the lights in the garage and then do it. I'm gonna turn these lights on first so I know where to walk, otherwise I'll probably wipe out. All right. Okay, so now we're in the garage. I'll get the right dealio here. So as you guys can see, that's how much light it throws, which if you think about it, it's really not that bright. So really, they're not anything to write home about, those old lights. And then a fun feature also that my dad put in, show you. There's a little toggle switch down here, and that turns on this little light, which is actually a license plate light. And in the back, it turns on that one. And you wouldn't think that that makes much of a difference, but when it's nighttime and you're trying to change gears, wow, this thing, there it is. And you're trying to change gears, that helps a whole lot. So, am I going to do the LED under the rack? Yeah, that's what I plan on doing. Being that we like to fill the top up in the past with wood and stuff like that, it can't really be on top. And then, as you see in the video, we kind of are planning to put it back in the basket. That way it doesn't get smashed up, because like he said, when you're driving through a ravine, which you wouldn't think would happen that much, but you know, it does. The bottom of this basket essentially just starts banging into stuff. So we got to kind of tuck it in there, that way it stays safe. What else? Oh my. It does float. An Argo trailer, I've seen them before. I don't know if we've ever really had to been in a situation where we needed it. Are you going to recondition the seats? At this point, that's up to my dad. I don't have any sort of professionalism in upholstery. So I'm not going to recondition them. I think he mentioned something about armor-alling them, and that's a good idea. I can do that, but if he wants them reupholstered, I'm not going to be able to do that. So, did my dad buy it new? No, he bought it used. I'm pretty sure he bought it used. I think my dad has been looking into tracks. I have no idea if he's truly going to get them or not. Have you checked the timing chain? No. Honestly, I mean, I haven't obviously ripped apart the engine very much, but the machine itself shows 406 hours, and that's constant runtime, which I feel for a motor. This thing is governed really well. It doesn't actually rev up super high, so I feel like that motor is really, really good. Actually, I think that it's nice and tight still, and it's almost impossible for one person to pull it over by hand. It'll rip your shoulder out, that's for sure. Besides walking from the truck for when they, just trying to read some of your comments here. Nitrous, yes. Oh yeah, we're gonna turbo this thing. No, this thing was never built necessarily for speed, but it's a beautiful machine, and my dad's gonna pressure wash it, buff it. It's gonna be incredible. It's gonna look brand new. What's the payload? It says online it's 1,000 pounds. So, yeah. 1,000 pounds is a lot. In fact, if a person bought one of these and put tracks on it, once you put tracks on it, it'll float over top the snow. It'll go through slush. I mean, these things with tracks are even better than they are. But if you put tracks on this thing, you could probably make money by going out early or late ice and pulling people's fish houses on and off of the lakes. So, yeah. You seem overwhelmed by the response to the live stream. Do your best and enjoy. Yeah, well, it's a lot. I tried to scroll through all the comments. There's a lot of them that I really can't respond to. So, I was wondering if you got the Argo for mainly crossing the lake. I don't really know his main purpose when he bought it a long time ago, but it was used mainly up north at the tent, and a lot of the land up there is marshy, and I think we really did need something that could go pretty much anywhere because it is so marshy. This thing will just float right across, and if it does sink, at least you'll be dry. And so that's really it. I think it was mainly for that purpose of the tent, and what else do we got on here? Some people obviously don't follow the videos. G-Man asked, how is my grandpa doing? He's doing really well from what I hear. Unfortunately, I had a bad cold around Christmas time, and then that was kind of right after his surgery. And then after that, when I finally got over the cold, I was going to call him and be like, hey, I want to come see you. And then I got a second cold. And the reason why that's crucial is, as my grandma says, you can't, if you were to get sick and cough, this was before, I don't know now that he's been healing and everything, but it puts a lot of pressure on his brain, so it's best that we just stay away. And that's exactly what I did, But tomorrow I'm going to be seeing my grandpa and grandma, and it's going to be great because I haven't seen him in a while, and I've wanted to hang out with him, but I do not want to get him sick at all. He's already been through more than enough these last few months, and so. Dave says you work 24/7. Not really. as you guys know, I mean, I got my day job, and someone asked, "What do you do?" I'm a welder during the day. Not really. I'm a welder during the night because my shift is 4 to 12:30 at night, and then after that, I'll come home and I'll work on the Argo, which, as you guys seen, it starts at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not even sorry about it. Like, you guys might not want to be my neighbor, but you know, I got to get stuff done, and that's just the time I do it, I guess. So, really, I'm awake from like anywhere from 9 a.m. all the way up to 4 or 5 in the morning the next day. So, go go go! I guess I don't know. I do need some land. Yeah, so you guys really don't get the idea of the garage, I think, from the videos, just because I don't show that many different angles. But it's a 2-stall garage with, I guess, a little extra. There it is. With a little bit extra on the side here with my storage shelves, which are always messy. I organize them like 3-4 times a year, but they just are messy. And then on this side, you can see we have the addition of a 8 by, I think it's 14 workbench area, which you can see is also cluttered completely. And my whole life runs out of those 2 toolboxes. That's how I like it. Some people like big rolling chests of tools. I like the smaller toolboxes, mainly the one on your right. This one. Mainly that one has all my go-to tools, and the other one on the other side is all my backup goofy screwdrivers and stuff like that. And the reason I like that is if, like for instance, last year, my mom calls and says, "Hey, my water heater's leaking. I need you to come over and we're going to install a new one." It's really easy for me to grab my simple 3-drawer toolbox, throw it in the back of the truck, and off I go. Versus a big rolling chest of tools, you kind of have to double up. We're out of focus again. Come on. Come on. There we go. So that's kind of my whole entire deal. But it is pretty chilly in here. One of these days it'll warm up. It looks to be, well, it's like 35 degrees in here. So what else? Yeah, I would love to live like somewhere where my dad is with all that land. If I had to guess, the next tent trip will be opening fishing. And I'm pretty sure that'll be the next run. But yeah, did you guys have any other questions about the Argo? It's gonna be great. I like doing these live streams. My dad always pushes for me to do these live streams because he knows that they normally go pretty well and pretty simple. Wish this thing would focus. There we go. So yeah, it's kind of a few questions. Steve asked, how much did we put into it? I went over it just a little while ago, but if you're just tuning in and you're wondering how much did we put into this thing, we're I think $980 or something just in there, and we got a little more wiring to do, and so I'll buy a few more switches. But I did invest today. You guys are gonna be proud of me. Well, maybe not. So, like I just said, I weld for a living, and today yesterday, I just bought my first box of legitimate earplugs. I wear ear muffs, like the kind that cover your ear. These ones over here. But when I wear my welding hood, I can't wear those. So I invested in some earplugs. You guys should be safety first, I guess. What year? 98. It's a 98, and they have a prior to September 98 and an after September 98. And from what I can tell by the tag, it's an after September 98. Although I've pulled up both of the diagrams before and after, and the parts as far as numbers and everything have been identical for everything that I needed. So I'll start it up one more time. I already started it up once. So the way you start this thing is pretty simple. Right to the left of the key is your manual choke, and then you got your key, and when you turn on the key, the brake cooling fan goes on, which sucks air in from the side over there through a tube, and then it goes over the disc brakes and puts fresh air on those. That's that noise. And it's pretty simple. Like I said, I just had it started here. Pretty simple. It's pretty cold. That motor there, it's an 18 horsepower Briggs, as you guys know. It takes so long to warm up. If this thing is just idling, that motor and the whole thing around it, it's like ice cold still, honestly. I mean, it's warm, but it's not like an operating temp. So you actually have to go out and run it for a few minutes, get it going, before it'll start to warm everything up. Even when we took it on our little maiden voyage, the whole time was pretty cold. Yeah, so it fired right up, and like I said, I just started this thing a couple minutes ago. So if you're wondering how good it actually starts, when you watched my dad's video when he came up here to visit, the Argo had not been started in, I think, like 4 or 5 straight days. Sitting out here in the cold garage on the trailer, hadn't been started at all, and it fired off. I was like, oh, he's been waiting to start that thing, and I was like, well, I sure hope that it works, and it fired right off, which I guess I shouldn't be nervous about it, but it's kind of the, it's like the boss man's in for a visit, so. I think the Argo is going to live between the tent and my dad's property up in, his new place there. And that's what he has said on a few comments. So it's going to live in between there and the tent. And yeah, I mean, this is going to be great for their property, being that they, they have all that land. So now they can go cruise around in the woods. They can put bags of feed in the back. I mean, the possibilities of this thing is endless. So, yeah. What else do we have? Why a group 51 instead of 45? The reason being is a group 51 is like a Honda Civic battery, so you actually get a little more juice versus a 45. So they consider it on the forums a upgrade for the Argo because it's a bigger battery. From what I can tell, if I'm reading that right. This thing keeps focusing in on my face, which is probably not what you guys want to see. The size of this motor is a 18 horsepower, and 18 horsepower Briggs Vanguard motor. Will I buy myself one or wait until we get land? I think that our first priority is going to be a four-wheeler, because that's something that we really wanted. This here, in my mind, is like a big boy toy, if you will. Big girl toy, however you want to put it. Not trying to be subjective, but it's a very adult toy. You do not see these very often, and the reason you don't see them, I think, is because they are kind of a niche. Everybody wants a four-wheeler, and they can get by with a four-wheeler, but this here is like tent material, because you can go through the woods. You can really do a lot of stuff. So what you think the gas mileage is? Not very good, I can guarantee that. But it has a 10-gallon tank, right around a 10-gallon tank, and you can go cruising. You can have fun for a weekend, going here and there and doing deer stands and stuff for sure on 10 gallons worth of gas. And it has a side fill, so you can just go up to the gas pump and pump it up. So pretty cool. Someone asked what this is. This is, you guys seen Sam's smashed up car if you watch the series. This is her new one, CX-5. So Mazda CX-5. It's actually a pretty decent little vehicle. And yeah. Save up for a side-by-side. Oh yeah, we've gotten this thing stuck before, and when this thing gets stuck, you know, that's the thing about a four-wheeler. If you get a four-wheeler stuck, you can rock it back and forth. You can get a couple guys to lift one of the ends. This thing is stuck. This is like getting a vehicle stuck. So that's why the winch was so crucial, because there's no, you can try to dig it out, but it has such a large flat bottom on it that it's really hard to dig it out. Did you use seafoam? Yeah, I use seafoam. If you watched the last video, you'll see I used some seafoam. It's working its way through.